welcome to the program. I'm Buddy Martin. This is a Thursday night Orange and Blue Bloods. The World Series is over for Florida, Tennessee, of course, and A&M playing for the Super SEC Championship, the World Series. We'll kind of move beyond that tonight to the next thing, and we're sharing it tonight with our friends, Ben TROUPE and LOREN MEADOWS, especially, talking about what this means. This game tonight, if you haven't followed this, there's a game being played, baseball, Major League game at RICKWOOD Stadium. And why is that significant if you didn't know? Well, that's where Willie Mays started playing baseball. And it just so happens that there's a Major League game there tonight between the Cardinals and the Giants, honoring a lot of the Negro League players of the great days. And, of course, Willie Mays began his career there at 17, playing for the Birmingham Black Barons. So we're going to be able to tell you more about that with our friends LOREN and Ben especially, and their African-American heritage. And we'll share with Franz Beard about what a wonderful afterglow there is for the Florida Gators. And what a tremendous couple of weeks it's been. And gosh, it used to be this was just a time when, we filled in for football. Well, football is coming, by the way. Football is coming. I'm Buddy Martin. I'm going to talk a lot about that because in a few, let's see, what's the date today? Well, the 1st of July, we got the new Super SEC, Oklahoma and Texas. What's that going to be about? And, of course, the first thing that happens is SEC Media Days in Dallas, Texas, where our team will be. And that'll be the first time that there's anything official happening with Oklahoma and Texas in the new SEC, which is going to be fantastic, despite all the problems. Well, you don't believe me? Stand by. We'll talk about it right here on The Buddy Martin Show.
Or Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
And welcome to the program. I'm Buddy Martin. Glad to be with you tonight. It's been quite a week or two, and it just never lets up. Used to have a break every now and then, right? But that's how we like it. We like it when it's busy, right? Things are going on here tonight. I haven't had a chance to watch much of the baseball game, but I want to talk about it tonight a lot because it's historically extremely important, as you know, and you know why if you've been following this. And this is the kind of thing that we need to be taught in history. This is why this game is important. We already talked about Willie Mays and what an incredible, ironic timing there was for this to happen just a couple of days before this game was scheduled quite some time ago. And kudos to the people in Birmingham for doing this. This is something This is the city. For those of you not well enough first to know, this is where, of course, was the scene of the church shooting of the children back in '63, and all the ugly things that happened during that period of time. Martin Luther King, of course. And by the way, let me just say kudos to the mayor of Birmingham. What a non-politician politician he is to bring this game about in this oldest stadium in America. It's quite something. And, of course, he made a statement. He's right. Birmingham didn't stop in 1963. Think about that for a second. If you don't know that much about it, well, sorry. You need to do your research. This is an important thing. And it does matter about sports, too, because even though it's not a sports topic, I mean, look what would happen if we didn't have the black athlete today. And amazing things that we've seen and things are happened. And anyway, it's a story that feels good to me, and I think it's something that is the one thing that college baseball doesn't have, by the way, is the fact that they don't have enough African American players. And the one reason they're having the problem is the fact that it's become a white sport, and college baseball is doing great right now with only a few minorities. And we're set up for another big game, obviously, series this weekend with the two SEC teams. And we're looking forward to seeing that battle. Who do you like, Tennessee or Texas A&M? I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And I made a pick today on Rob Brown's show. I picked Tennessee because, really because of their hitting. But you know what? I could go either way. Texas A&M has done it really well, and their coaches did a fantastic job. Schlossnagle has been so very, very complimentary of Florida's program, too, if you've been following that as well. Talking about this is the way they do it. Follow how Florida does it. So, so let's see if Ben's having a problem getting in here at the moment. So, and yeah, he's having a problem getting in. So we'll do this. We'll stand by for 1 second to see why Ben is not getting this particular link. Call Ben Troupe.
Calling Troupe Ben Wewen 84@gmail.com. Mobile.
All right, we're having problems connecting with Ben. We'll see if he picks up the phone. Ben, speak up. You're on the phone with me right now. For some reason, you don't either have the right link, but while we're waiting, while I go through trying to find this, I sent you the link earlier. I'll look for it again and send it to you. And first of all, how you doing, Ben? Can you hear me all right, Ben? Hang on. All right, try it now.
Huh?
Go ahead, Ben.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry we're having difficulty here with whatever this is. But while we're doing this, let's talk a little bit about what's happening tonight in Birmingham. You and I have had discussions about this. While I'm looking for the link, well, I don't know why you don't have it. I will let you tell me if you followed it. Of course, it's Willie Mays. Well, he started out at 17 years old, and these two teams, San Francisco, tonight and is honor. They're honoring Willie Mays and all the Negro League players in Birmingham. It's going to be quite a deal to do that. The Cardinals and the Giants. What do you know about it?
Well, the thing about, obviously Willie Mays was, well before my time. But I think the thing about his contributions, I think the main thing is, too, buddy, is when MLB decided to allow the Negro League, stats to be, be counted, it only made what Willie Mays does, who he is and was, even grander. And obviously, when we start talking about contributions, people like Willie Mays, I don't think we can do justice for just how much he meant to the game, because he had to deal with the color barriers, he had to deal with bigotry, racism, all these different things, and to still become the player he became. Because the thing about the Negro Leagues, what made them so great is when they put those numbers compared to MLB, stats, you realize just how great, not good, how great these players were. Willie Mays to me. Is what every baseball player strives to be. He has a similar impact, if not bigger impact, up like a Jackie Robinson when you look at the type of contributions he made. So I'm just happy that he is being honored, and I'm happy for everybody in the Negro League tonight, because growing up, my grandfather used to talk about how great the Negro Leagues were, and he was just saying how he's, obviously he's not living now, but I think the guys like Willie Mays, show that, I can be great in whatever whatever part of baseball that I'm involved in at the current time, and even when I get over to the MLB. So I just think that him being honored the way he is, I think ESPN, Sports Center, these beat writers are doing a great job of honoring him. Because if you are the grandson or family member of Willie Mays, the things you tell people about him, or the fan, you grew up a fan of his, you just happy that what you've always grown to know and love, he's being remembered. So, I'm just happy for him, his legacy, his family, because like I said, but it goes back to, when we be talking about you and your writing, sometimes, you do it for simply the love of what you're doing, but to be recognized, that means that you made contributions far, far greater than the game. So shout out to Willie Mays, and who he is and what he is.
Thank you, folks. Apologize. There's a difficulty here. Ben Troupe on the phone. Ben, try your email now. See if you have the link in there, and we'll continue to talk about it. I want to talk for a second about the Birmingham Barons. Growing up in Ocala, as I did, the Birmingham Barons, the white team, trained in Birmingham and Ocala. Every spring they would come there. They have all their minor league teams, not the Red Sox major league teams. And they would come there, and we saw all the stars of the past, guys, Bobby Dorr, Ted Williams, all those guys there. But those young players also went to the Red Sox and actually wound up helping to win the World Series. But Willie Mays, at 17, played for the Birmingham Black Barons. They played in the in Rickwood, and he was 17, and he was so popular that the Birmingham Black Barons began outdrawing the Birmingham White Barons, which caused a little bit of a consternation. And at 17, I have a great picture. I wish I could get it up on my side of him packing up his bags and going to New York, the New York Giants. And so he was such a spectacular player. Now, the thing about him, and I wish I could tell every young African-American kid about him, because he was incredible. And some will argue he's the greatest player of all time in baseball. I don't know, maybe. I've seen some great ones, but he'd be right up there. I saw him play, and I actually saw him play when it was when he hang on, Ben. So I'm trying to get Ben on the line here. There he is. All right. Look at here. All right. I got Ben. Yeah.
Hold on. Go ahead. See, not to cut you off, but when people ask me, what do you want to hear from Buddy? I said, I want to get a show to where Buddy's just going off about his sports memory. So go ahead, sir. Continue.
No, just about Willie. I mean, I've been around a long time, and we didn't get to see him play on TV because then and also the newspapers in those days could not get the box scores in of any game after 11 o'clock at night. Well, Willie wound up going to the New York Giants, which moved to San Francisco. And then, of course, we never got to see him on TV and never saw the box scores. So all we got was what we read in magazines and heard him talk about. We knew he was a great player. We heard things. We saw his averages and all that. Anyway, and then we saw things like the catch, the incredible catch that he made. We thought, man, he's different. So I guess he had superpowers, and I didn't know Willie. I was around him, and I was living in New York when he was in his early 40s, when he was traded to the Mets. And I covered the Mets and the Yankees and all that. So I did get a chance to see him play a little bit. Unfortunately, there he is. I saw him in the World Series when he played against Oakland. He was 43, and he was in the center field, and he kept falling down. And it was just awful to watch this great player right before our eyes falling down, and making it always make craze. But the other thing you've got to remember about Willie Mays, he, like other great men of that generation, older, they went to the service, and he lost 2 years, prime 2 years. He would have beat Hank Aaron's record had he not, because he would average 45 home runs a year, whatever. He would have wound up. And so, the greatness of Willie Mays probably will be written in the history books for young people. especially young black men, what you got to know about Willie Mays. And tonight, I haven't had a chance to watch this event, but what a tremendous thing that they're doing in Birmingham. Almost, well, actually by accident, they'd hoped he'd be here when they scheduled it. And the mayor of Birmingham, who's done a fabulous job promoting this thing, I think, spoke well about it. And so it's on now tonight. And I'm really glad because it brings to focus this national spotlight on the great Willie Mays.
Yeah, Willie Mays to me is real. I would guarantee you, Willie Mays was a guy that, people. Jackie Robinson used to criticize Willie Mays for not doing enough for the civil rights movement, and he would say, "Man, I'm a ball player. Like I'm here to play baseball. I'm here to do what I'm doing at the best of my ability." You know what that reminds me of? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan wasn't. People used to criticize him for not doing enough, but he said, "Look." He says, "I'm gonna be the best at what I could possibly be, that being a basketball player." And because he says, if I lend myself to somebody, I don't want to just lend some of myself to it. But Willie Mays was a 25-time All-Star, 24-time All-Star. And buddy, think about this. It's what you just said can't be stated enough. He took time off to serve his country and still did the things he did. And I just think that guys like Willie Mays aren't talked about enough because Willie Mays is one of those type people. He wasn't good. He was out of this world at what he did for the game of baseball. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing about I think around that time, I can only imagine how difficult it was for him to keep his eyes and his mind strictly on what he was doing with everything that was going around him. And it's just a testament to be at 660 home. His numbers. NL MVP, NL Rookie of the Year. Just I think sometimes, buddy, the accolade we get caught up in the accolades and the achievements, but the mindset it takes to do anything that long, that consistent, and that great for that long. So I'm just happy that he's being honored because, buddy, no matter. Listen, validation. It's not something that most people ever going to get in this life, but you'll definitely take it. It's not like you walk around looking for validation, but when people validate what they say, when you're good at something, you tell them. When you're great at something, they tell you. And I'm telling you right now, Willie Mays is getting his just dues, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Negro League. I'm happy for, all those heroic black men who just wanted to play the game of baseball, and MLB finally doing, to me,
the proper thing.
The proper thing, the intelligent thing, the right thing to say, hey, who are we to not acknowledge the greatness of these players? So I'm happy for Willie Mays. I'm happy for his family because you know how it is, buddy. When you have a family member that has contributed so much to the game that we, it's America's pastime. It's a game we grew up loving. You usually get introduced to a baseball from your grandfather or an uncle or somebody who, and like I say, you grew up hearing about these type players. And I remember on the movie Jackie Robinson when it was a part of the movie. When the guy go up to Jackie Robinson, he said, "Listen, maybe one day we all will be wearing 42." What do MLB do now? All of them will wear 42, right? So it's just acknowledging those who help make the game what it is. So congratulations. I'm happy for Willie Mays. And like I said, I'm happy for the Negro League even more because when you start putting them numbers, buddy, up against what these guys in the majors are doing, they realize, dude, these dudes, they could play. They could play.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Hey, listen, I want to share something personal here. And all you folks who tuned in to talk about Gator Sports, we're going to do that. But this is an important night on a personal note for me as well. Because two friends of mine helped me with my education of the matter of race. We were having some difficulties in our country 5-6 years ago, whatever, 7, 8, whatever it was. And we got attacked about some things regarding the name Gator Bait, which, we won't go into that. And I started thinking about whether it was right or wrong, if it was true what they were saying about it. And I thought, I want to ask my black friends about that. Wait a minute, I don't have any. I had some when I lived in other places. I didn't have anybody that I knew well enough to talk about personal things. So I relied on Ben and said, Ben, we didn't need to talk about this. We need to have a conversation. What can we do to understand this situation better? I'll never forget what you said. We need to have a serious conversation about it. and we had a serious conversation about it, and a really healthy conversation, which could have gone either way. It could have gone to been the end of our friendship. Who knows? Because I was honest.
Of
I
course.
said, I said some things that I wouldn't say on the show to you, being honest, and you said some things to me that you wouldn't say on the show, and we learned a lot about it, and I learned a lot about it. And then I met this guy, and I enhanced my education even more, Loren Meadows. And so, my brothers, I'm glad to be with you tonight, both of you, in this occasion. Thank you for helping educate me about some things. An old white that dude that I thought you never think you're racist, and neither one of you called me that. But the fact is, it's the ignorance of not knowing certain things that, in fact, do make you racist. So I've tried to be educated about that. Still got a ways to go, but thank you both of you for helping me, Loren. Good evening to you. It's a great night for people of all races in Birmingham, Alabama, of all places. Where, as the mayor said, we didn't stop in 1963. Look what's happening in Birmingham, Alabama, at RICKWOOD tonight in honor of the great Willie Mays, Loren.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you're coming off of, I think this is the first official year for the Juneteenth holiday as a national holiday. I don't know if you touched on that, but
Did not. I'm glad you brought it up.
That officially, quote unquote, ended slavery in all the Confederate states at one time. And, talking about the adjustments, I heard Ben mention that Major League Baseball is making with the Negro Leagues and the records and things like that. But just the pride that RICKWOOD ballpark and other ballparks, in America that are long gone now, were a sense of pride for African Americans when the games were segregated and things like that. And you look at some of the greats that have built this game, from Willie Mays to Jackie Robinson to Satchel Paige to Josh Gibson, who unfortunately didn't get to make it to the major leagues. Just how many ghosts of times past came through that stadium. And it's kind of fitting that the Giants are one of the teams that's playing, because that's basically where Willie Mays made his name. And so I think it's just, sometimes things are fitting to where it just happens, and it's poetic, and it's a great story. And coming off of the heels of the passing of the great Willie Mays, this event that had already been scheduled, but you just talk about, what that place means to just not just baseball history, but the Negro Leagues. And I really encourage our listeners, if you really want to hear some good stories, and there's plenty out there, go look up some of the anecdotes of some of the people, not just that played in the Negro Leagues, but those that played against those Negro League players, and the way that they speak glowingly of the talent and that some of these individuals had, and then they were able to bring it to the major leagues. And you talk about Willie Mays, who, if you put his numbers up against anybody, you could argue, not only was the greatest living Major League Baseball player up until a few days ago, but could be the greatest baseball player ever. And, you talk about guys that didn't play above the rim before, guys like Elgin Baylor, and you talk about different people, Connie Hawkins, and those people in basketball, but then you talk about Willie Mays, who truly revolutionized the position, the outfield position, and really did it with flair and pizzazz. And what we see today is on the heels of that. So I think just when you take notice, and buddy, I think you're, and you and I have known each other for quite some time, and Ben and I have talked. Matter of fact, that's how Ben and I met. I don't think you give yourself enough credit. I think that, by what was going on in this country at the time, I think that we all had to take an introspective look into our thoughts and what we were thinking. But from all intents and purposes, the Buddy Martin Show has always been a place of inclusion, has always been a place of truth. And, I think you've led that. And from what I can understand about you, long before this platform, you've always been a person that spoke fairly about a man, a woman, and went on the content of their character, not just what they were doing. So, Ben and I both surely appreciate, you taking the time and really having the dialogue, particularly when we talk about the Gator Bait name and things like that. But, I think that, as we sit here and we're going on now about 4 years with this thing, I think that, now is the time where we just continue to do what we're doing. We lead by example. And, you look at where Major League Baseball was some 50, 60 years ago to where it is now. I think this is just another celebration of how far we've come as a country. We still got a long way to go, but we continue dialogue like this. I think it's going to head us in the right direction.
Thank you for that. I don't take any credit for any of that stuff, but thank you for it. And I want to say that we're breaking our rules tonight. We don't talk politics. We'll talk race if need to on this show. We just don't. We learned our lesson about that. And but I was so moved by this tonight. The first thing I thought about was the two of you and my friends. And I thought, boy, oh boy, how proud must they be? Because I'm proud to see this game being played tonight. If I had any children, that I would say, go learn about this.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Listen, a lot of kids don't even know who Steve Spurrier was, and maybe even Martin Luther King. The point is that this is where sports can do so much good. If you think about the horrific pictures of the water, the fire hoses, and the dogs that happened in Birmingham, and what happened in Selma, and all those days, I lived that time. I saw it, and you think there in the city, well, this happened in '63. Here they are putting a showcase on tonight for baseball and African Americans. Are giving the just due to the great Negro League players. By the way, it still feels funny to say the word Negro, doesn't it? Even though that's what they call it. And it's been, and I'll always remember that our meeting and thoughts. And I read this tonight, and I thought about the two of you. I thought, I'm gonna get them both on and read this. This is what Willie Mays gave to his friend Dusty Baker on Monday, a day before he passed away, to share with the city of Birmingham. All right. He wrote this. I wish I could be with you all today. This is where I'm from. I had my first pro hit here at Rickwood as a Baron in 1948. By the way, that was the Black Barons. And now this year, 76 years later, it finally got counted in the record books. And so some things take time, but I always think better late than never. Time changes things. Time heals wounds. And that is a good thing. I had some of the best times of my life in Birmingham. So I want you to have this clock to remember times with me, and remember all the other players who are lucky enough to play here at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. Remember, time is on your side. And I guess he gave him a clock for as a present. What an amazing note that is.
It is. And even before I say, I want to say, what Loren said about you, buddy. I think sometimes, we only dwell in the bad. We only dwell in the worst of the worst. And I get it. Some things are extremely bad. But what Loren is saying is what you chose to do, you did not have to do that. You did not have to do it one bit. And you did. And bigger than what you did, you cared about our feedback. You cared about what we thought. And I think sometimes that's all it is. It's not the fact that when people, when I was on ESPN radio and I'm talking about, BJ and Kevin, me being the only black guy on the network, it's not like, I was like, okay, now we get to delve into different things. It's just acknowledging the fact that, there are things we're going to talk about because I'm on the network that you get to avoid if I'm not. We were in the same home, and I think for you is you caring enough to say, wait a minute, man, let me get some insight. That stuff goes a long way because sometimes that's all it is, just a conversation. Hey, how you feel about this? And what I appreciate about what you did, it wasn't a hashtag. It wasn't a Twitter crave. It's something you want to talk about with me and Loren, and I appreciate that kind of stuff because as much as you think it lets me know about you, it lets me know about me. Because if I'm not open to it, I could have easily, or Loren could have easily, I don't want to talk about this, but I'm telling you. So when people say, hey, man, how you feel about Buddy Martin? I say, man, y'all only see him an hour a day. They don't get a chance to, because as my grandfather would say, I said, Granddaddy, how long do it take to get to know a man? He said a moment. It don't take a long time. Say he give you the right moment, you know him. I don't got to know everything about him. And so I agree with Loren, man. I just appreciate you, buddy, because you him, man. You one of them ones because you care about the people who you associate with. So I just want to say that, and the thing about the Willie Mays stuff is my grandfather, my two grandfathers are in heaven right now, laughing, saying, see, look, because there are certain things you say, hey, MLB, that's a Buddy Martin moment. They don't got to do what they just did now. They do not have to, but somebody said, look, man, I'm telling you, there was somebody in the decision-making process with MLB that said, dude, y'all need to add this. What is it going to hurt if you add these stats? And they say, cuz, I don't think you know how great these guys were. And they added them, and they said, he did what with what? Yeah, you see Willie Mays? Yeah. That's what going to the military. That's what dealing with whatever he had to deal with to do that. Most guys want to play 10 years. He had 24-time All-Star, 660 home. The numbers are ridiculous, but what it also does is when people talk about equality, no, that's equity right there. When you do that, okay. And we used to make a joke, man, which it is true. When we at ESPN Radio, we would say this. We'll say, hey, man, I don't know how good some of these guys are. You'd be like, how you know? They ain't playing with no black guys.
No.
I'm not saying they wasn't good now.
I know what you're saying.
I'm not, right. but it's like, but we always say, in basketball, there is no American white superstar. Luka is not American, right? In baseball, there's no black American superstar. They all from South America, all the great ones. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying there's anything broken there. It's the fact that when you put us all out there together, right? When you put us all out there, when you throw us in there, you make that as my grandma would say, we a melting pot, not a stew. A stew means you cooked everything out of it. You put us all in it together, then let's see. That's it. That to me, that's what sports is. Sports is, hey man, you put us all out there together. Loren, no, put us all out there together. Let's see. I mean, in the NFL right now, there is a white cornerback. That boy might as well be, that boy is a unicorn. Because Jason Sehorn killed it for all of them back in the day. Now we got us one. It ain't a color thing, right? It's a talent thing. It's just that, hey man, I got melanin in my skin. And I'm telling you, my grandfather used to tell me about the Negro Leagues. They used to have movies about them. He said, I'm telling you, man, Satchel Paige and them, they sound like mythical characters. And they're real, living, breathing people. Jackie Robinson used to have dealerships in Augusta, Georgia, where I graduated high school from. He came in there one time, and I couldn't even talk. I said, that's Jackie Robinson. It's like he reached his hand out, and they was like, are you going to shake it? I'm like, man, because that's him. It's like these people, I'm just happy for their families because they're the ones that get to have their legacies live on and things of that nature. So I'm just happy for all the families involved. Willie Mays, like I said, you can do a creative baseball player and he won't be as good as that. You can lie on your stats and they won't be as good as that. Most guys say, I want to play in the majors. I want to make an all-star team. He can donate 15 all-stars. He still got double. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just happy for everybody involved because I wasn't alive when my father played basketball in the Army. And I used to hear about it. We finally go to Killeen, Texas one time, Fort Hood. We walk in this, basketball facility, and they had a picture of my daddy up on that wall. And my daddy just stood there. Hey, John, to me, that's what sports does. Sports is like, man, you leave a legacy. And it ain't what you say. It's like my daddy will not brag on himself. You know, I don't come from that bragging on yourself. We walk in.
Not his generation. No.
And Loren, we walk in, and Buddy, we walk in. And my daddy just want to show me where he played. They got his picture up. I said, Daddy, what? I saw it before he saw it. Then you fast forwarded. All these years later, I'm at Florida with my daughter. And this is when Coach McElwain was there. And I'm speaking to the team. And we go upstairs because we want to take a picture with Coach Mack. And my daughter yells like, Daddy, that shoe on the wall. That stuff do something to you, boy. Because you don't do it for that. You'll take it, but you don't do it for that. So the same way I saw my daddy, my daughter, my father's granddaughter saw her daddy. So now Willie Mays gets recognized by the nation. That's the least we can do for him and his legacy. Because like I say, I don't care who you are. If you're Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ohtani, Jack Caglione, you'll never be Willie. It ain't possible. It's possible. Thank God Willie didn't pitch. Because if he did, how many Cy Youngs is that? You see what I'm saying? So hey, I'm just happy for Willie Mays and his family. I'm happy for the Negro League. I'm just happy that all of those stories that sounded made up, they'll say, hey, I told y'all. And somebody, whoever you are out there, because everything comes Netflix, y'all know what to do. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know how y'all do specials. So I'm just waiting to see those stories be told on film, because some of us, all of us ain't blessed to be on Buddy Martin's show. So some of us gonna have to watch it on TV, which we will. And I'm just looking forward to seeing whoever gonna play who. And whoever get to play Willie Mays is gonna say, "Good Lord, I was this good." Like, yeah, he was he was that great.
I'm gonna bring Franz in here, and I want to say one thing to finish up our conversation about when you and I talked, man. When I was digging deep in my own soul to try to figure out what to do about doing the right thing, and I had a lot of counsel, and we just told it like it was to each other. I mean, we said some things that I wouldn't repeat on this show because we said we have to have an honest conversation, and we did. And I would hate to hear what I said, what you said, but you said something to me after all that. There were some rough parts in there, actually. There needed to be some rough parts to wake up. And so I said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a poll on see if the fans want me to change the name of Gator Bait. If we get a lot of protests from people who think, it's racist, if that's what's necessary to make a point and to be fair, because I went back to what Coach Spurrier said when he took the flags down. The Confederate had him asked him to take the Confederate flag down over the state building in Columbia, and he said it's not right if it offends somebody. I thought, well, if this offends some people, then I got to think about this. And Gator Bait's been around for a little while. I would hate to have to change it. And nothing about it ever occurred to me that was at least a bit racist. And I said, Ben, I don't know what to do here about this. And I said, what do you think? And you were very honest. I said, well, if you ask me what I prefer, I'd probably want you to change it. But because it's you, buddy, and I know who you are, I know what you're about, I'm just fine if you don't. What you said to me. So anyway, I want to share that. Thank you for that. Franz Beard, good evening to you, Franz. I got to make sure people know this program is being brought to you by Franz Beard. No, it's not. Being brought to you by our good friends at Meldon Law. And of course, they do a great job over there in every respect of supporting the Gators. They're, of course, the only official law partner of the University of Florida. They sponsor stuff, give away tickets. Go to their Facebook page sometime and check them out. They give away all kinds of tickets. You need to get to know who they are. They're good people. They're good folks. And they're doing the right things in Gage. So we appreciate their support, and they will not back down. Meldon Law. All right, guys. Francis, you're coming off an afterglow of a tremendous week of baseball, all the things that happened. Guys, you have to – it couldn't help but feel good about what happened. It didn't end well after that win over Kentucky, and then last night couldn't seem to get – what did they get, 4 hits, Francis? Couldn't seem to – they had a bunch of people left on base. But what a season and what a performance by some of those players. Franz Beard, go.
Well, before I get any farther, I want to say two things. When I was in sports editor in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, I got to know the great Buck Leonard, one of the greatest Negro League players of all time, who grew up in Rocky Mount, uh, lived right there, had a barbecue place that was just unbelievable, and but got to talk to him, and the stories he would tell about Josh Gibson, for example, you know, uh, about Roy Campanella. Here's a guy that had a chance to go to the major leagues, but because he was older, he said, I don't want to go to the major leagues and they're going to see me in my declining years and think that this is the best that the Negro Leagues had to offer. That took a lot of class on his part. But what a great man, a great ball player he was, absolutely a legend. And everybody I talked to who knew him and who had actually seen him play said there's no doubt he would have been a superstar in any league at any time. Just a great guy. But the thing I was so appreciative of was the fact that he was constantly striving to open doors for guys to play baseball. And he didn't care whether you were black or white or whatever like that. What he said was baseball is a great equalizer. You got to be able to play on a team. You got to be part of a team. And he said, you got to be on a team. But yet when that ball is hit your way, you ain't got nobody to help you. He said, it isn't like football where you got a blocker in front of you. He says, it's not like basketball when you can make a mistake and you got a 7-footer there to erase it. He said, baseball, if the ball's hit your way, you got to catch it. You got to make the throw. And he said, so baseball's in his opinion, baseball was the great equalizer because you put 9 guys out on the field and they got to play as a team, but yet you don't have any help. And that's the true thing about baseball. That's the one thing I do love about it. The quick thing to say, when I'm 6 years old, the Mayfair Country Club in Sanford, the New York Giants bought it and they shut it down in the wintertime so that Willie Mays and their black players could play golf. We lived across the street from the 8th fairway. And I had a chance. I go there, there's a bunch of older guys, and they said, hey, because they knew I'd do anything for a quarter. They said, we'll give you a quarter if you'll take these things up here and ask that Negro man there if he'll sign them. I'm 6 years old. What the heck do I know? I take the cards over there. I'm happy as I can be because I'm going to get a quarter. That means I'm getting 2 Cokes and a candy bar. And it turns out it was Willie Mays. And he looks over to the other guys. He said, how much did those guys give you to ask me to sign this? I said, they gave me a quarter. He said, he reached in his pocket and he gave me $5. And he said, go back and show them this and tell them they're a bunch of cowards. So I got to meet Willie at the World Series in '73 in New York, and honest to goodness, he said he remembered the incident. And I thought, wow, but what a great player, and talk about a great equalizer. The postseason was a great equalizer for the Florida Gators. Great.
Yes, you talk about that. I've never been, I don't guess emotional is the right word, emotionally attached and involved. It was like my heart was pounding, man. Everything was like living on the edge. Every day it's an elimination game. They are giving everything they got out there. They're doing their best. They're struggling and fighting, and you kind of knew they weren't going to make it. But I thought, well, all you want out of your team, you want them to win the championship. More than that, Loren, you want them to give everything they have and go down fighting if they go down. And boy, this Florida team did that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at just the spring as a whole, but baseball kind of finished it off on the heels of softball and track and even women's lacrosse. I mean, baseball. I mean, ultimately the goal, you can't win it all if you don't get to Omaha. So, just being able to go on the road, first out there to Oklahoma State and take care of business there, and then come back and go to Clemson, hostile crowd, deal with some adversity in that game, and to get those wins, and then get to Omaha and kind of fight their way back after some adversity, kind of pummel Kentucky, put them in their place, and really just kind of ran out of gas at the end. But I mean, you talk about the job. I mean, I know that there were people calling for Sully's head, which I never understand, but it's always the experts. But I mean, just a great coaching job. I mean, like somebody just said, Sully is elite. I mean, he just does a nice job, man, and the guys love playing for him. And there's already a couple kids I think that have already committed to transfer in.
Give you one update I just got. If I could just jump in there real fast, since you brought it up, they got the player, a real good player from Stetson tonight.
Gold Glove center fielder.
Yeah.
Gold Glove center fielder. They got Blake Sear out of Miami, who was a freshman All-America, and he would have probably had another All-America season, except he broke his thumb and tried to play through it, couldn't. And so he only played in about 20 or 25 ball games. And they got this kid, Justin Nadeau, out of Jacksonville, who hit 395. He had this like 485 on base percentage. I mean, the guy just gets on base and can play all four positions in the infield and all three positions in the outfield. So now I think he's going to have to. I think he needs another veteran pitcher in there, because particularly if Jameson goes, if Fisher Jameson comes back, he's going to be the closer next year. But I think he's going to get drafted. He's pitched so well in the last month. He's going to get drafted. Neely has pitched his way into the first 5 rounds.
I think Neely pitched his way into the hearts of a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
By the way, just so you know, they're looking at Pierce Coppola now. This is from Jacob Rudner, just because save. He says his pitch registered 92 miles an hour, 20 inches of run, 13 inches of induced vertical break, and over 2,500 RPMs. I guess that's good. He says Coppola should only improve with time as he gets further and further from his injuries. Super intriguing pro prospect. We didn't expect that from Pierce Coppola, did we?
Well, they've been waiting on him, though. I mean, he just couldn't stay healthy. I think they saw the potential, from the get-go, is just trying to keep him healthy. But I mean, they've been high on him, out of high school, with just, trying to. I think he's finally kind of grown into his body. He was kind of gangly, kind of lanky when he first came here, but Franz, you can echo. I think that now they've started to kind of get him into his body. He's kind of growing into being a man, so to speak, and you're starting to see the results, with Coppola.
He's 6'8" and he's 255 pounds, and he's still skinny. That's the amazing thing about it. That's like Caglone. Jack Caglone, they list him at 6'5", and he's 6'6", and he's 255 pounds, and he's skinny.
Speaking of Cags, by the way, his comportment was amazing. He was so caught up in the thing. He said his quote earlier, "I dread the day I have to take this jersey off for the last time, but I guess that's tonight. But I guess I wasn't mentally ready for it." He won so many hearts from people, and the way he played. You see those last 2 base hits he got last night? Here's a power hitter hitting the ball 1,000,000 miles, to the moon. He pounded those 2 base hits in the turf like a softball, and the wrong way to get on base, and he adjusted his game. He got walked 30-something times, and he conducted himself. What I loved about him is he played the game with great joy. He really did, and I love that about him. So anyway, I want to say Sully's comment was, we've had a terrific year. There's been lots of ups and downs. I know a lot of our guys are awfully disappointed. Speaking from my heart, I'm just proud of this team, what they were able to accomplish. Amen. Amen. Now, there are some people out there who are kind of, really. So here's a good quote, and I want to read. Then there's some writer which is supposed to be funny, which I want to read. Florida is the epitome of what every program should be. Florida is the type of program we are trying to become at Texas A&M. Jim Schlossnagle, of course, beat Florida. Yep. So, all right, here you are. Here's today's cliche. You know, Florida had a bunch of how many strikeouts, France?
14, 11 of them swinging.
No, for the whole, how many times does a team of Florida strike out? And a ton of, for the whole series, right?
For the whole series, for the whole series.
Yeah.
Let's see, 16, 14, 14, and 14.
I mean, the batters, not the pitchers.
That's what I'm talking about. 16, 14, 14, and 14.
Okay, that's
so
a lot.
That's what 58 times in 4 games.
Here's the line for you, friends. The Florida Gators had more whiffs in the College World Series than a bunch of drug detection dogs at a Snoop Dogg party.
Boo.
Look,
you didn't write that, did you? You didn't write that, did you, Franz?
Hold on.
Oh, I you know, the thing about it is
again, laugh.
You know, it's funny and yet it's not. You know, if you know what I mean. The initial reaction is to chuckle, and then you start thinking about it, and goodness, it's not like these guys weren't trying.
No. I know it's this joke, and sometimes the best thing you do when you're having pain about something is make a joke out of it. That's the whole. You need a little comic relief. Listen, they stole our hearts, man. They were fantastic. I mean, right now, baseball has never been as popular. As I wrote in my column, this team will never be forgotten.
No,
they'll never be forgotten for what they did.
This year's or last year's. I mean,
yeah,
right.
This year's might be a little better because this year's gonna be remembered because we look at what Florida ended up at. They weren't supposed to. Yeah, we get it. They weren't supposed to be there. When Florida got in, it sent shockwaves throughout college baseball. Right? There was and I'm gonna keep on.
They were a joke. They're the butt of the jokes, man.
I'm gonna keep on saying it. Loren, Buddy, Franz, listen. We get invited. Listen. There's a party going on, and we just happen to hear about it, and we know the dude at the door, and he let us in. Of course, listen. Of course, we sit at the table, ain't nobody sitting at. We wait on everybody to get their food, and then we go get ours. And sooner or later, somebody go, hey, wait a minute. Somebody notices one of us, and then we be like, yeah, like, oh, you guys got, yeah, yeah. Cause we gonna listen because we're not supposed to be there. Throw us out. Well, I'm gonna take a to-go plate if you do throw me out. I think the thing about Florida is Florida just proved that they are a dangerous team if you get in. And I think yes, it's gonna be 2 teams this year. One, I'm not rooting for either one of them. I'm sure not rooting for the one from Knoxville, but 2 teams gonna do something they've never done before, right? You said it, Franz. You said Kentucky gonna have the hardest time. I think Florida just getting some get back. Florida's baseball season and softball season ended very similar. It was very, very similar. Now, obviously, the softball team lost to the juggernaut known as Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, four-peat is just crazy. I don't care what sport it is, male or female. I just think for Coach Sully. And you don't appreciate how great of a coach he is. A great coach, not a good one. And we came up short. I mean, Cags, they don't make human beings like that. They just don't. I don't know what is Tampa. I don't know what I've lived in Tampa, and that water got sulfur in it. I mean, I wouldn't drink it. I don't know if he was drinking it, but we're gonna miss Cags. We're gonna miss this squad. And like I said, I would have loved to have won this thing, but it's just like this team was fun to watch, man. They really, 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 really were fun to watch. And hey, I thought it was going to end up. I thought it was going to end up Florida State, in the College World Series. We beat them, and I talked trash. It didn't go that way, but I am very, very proud.
Did you pick the score of that game 52-20?
Listen, but you want to know? You don't want to know what though. As much as we all wanted to see him win. The fact that they did this in a year when nobody thought they could, and they showed that all this time when Sully is trying to find which one of these freshmen that he can throw out there, and all of a sudden it becomes, it all comes together at this one point. And, it's like all of the troubles. Sometimes we get so caught up in our success, we forget about all the trouble we had to go to get there. It's like Ben Troupe makes All-American tight end. Well, everybody looks at that and says, boy, that Ben is great. What they don't look at is all those times that Ben Troupe was out there in 100-degree heat, sweating his ass off, busting his butt in the weight room, trying to get one more rep up because he think they don't see that. We only see the good stuff. And everybody right now is, the good news about this is I don't think a lot of people forgot the bad stuff in this case. They remembered it, and that's why they appreciated it so much. Too often, though, we look at all the good stuff. We look at a Ricky Pearsall making a catch like that. We look at a Ben Troupe jumping over somebody at the goal line at Georgia, etc., like that. We look at a Joakim Noah dominating UCLA, and we don't remember all the hard work that went in there. We look at a Willie Mays, and nobody ever thinks about all the fly balls he shagged. Getting somebody to, hey, just hit me a few more before it turns dark. Just hit me a few more fly balls before it turns dark. Or throw me 2 more pitches. I know it's almost dark and I can't see the ball either, but throw me 2 more pitches so I can. We never see that, but we see the great stuff that goes on. And I wish so often that we'd take a moment and say, hey, thank you for sweating. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for the the difficulty you had. The tears you cried.
Yeah. And let me get this in commercial real fast, and before we have our final thought, I got a couple of things to talk about. Number one, I'm going to talk about our good friends at Titan MRI. There's something you should know about it. If you have to have an MRI, you live in the Gainesville, Ocala, Lake City area, there's an alternative to where you have to go if you don't like going to your local place, because they have in mind the customer experience. And when you go to have an MRI, it's never pleasant. I'm sure Ben had about 50 of them. And so, if you get that inside that little tube there and you get claustrophobic, and then on top of that, you have to go, in the middle of the day, take half a day off your job, whatever. Well, the folks at Titan MRI are aware of that, and they're going to fix it for you. They will actually make you a specialized appointment at night, weekends, whatever works for your schedule, where you get that, a custom-make appointment. And then when you come in there, if you don't have insurance, you think, oh my gosh, I got to buy an MRI. Well, it's not that expensive, and they'll take cash your card right there. And then finally, the whole experience is they want you to know that they have special cameras there. The spores are larger on them, so it makes it easier for you not to get so claustrophobic inside the MRI. So check them out, TitanMRI.com. You talked about this, Lori, about the day, the year they had, and I'll just mention these things, and then each of you can grab one and talk about it. We talked about baseball. Think what they did. Men's track, national championship. Women's track, second. Women's gymnastics, Final Four. Women's lacrosse, Final Four. Men's golf, advanced to the NCAA championships. Softball, Final Four. Baseball, Final Four. That's quite a year, guys. Ben?
It just shows that when you start talking about great coaches, great players, I mean, most teams, taking nothing away from them, not to compare Florida to anybody. Scott Strickland understand that after January, he finna get them frequent flyer miles. They finna be doing it, because I think the thing is, spring sports in Florida, we get to flex our muscle a lot, because there is no greater coach in college athletics than Miles. You will not be better than Miles. When it comes to baseball, Kevin O'Sullivan is baseball royalty. He walk into any baseball facility and people stop. Coach Tim Walton, I heard a great man in Franz Beard say what makes his team great is he coached people first, the players second. Right? When you start talking about women's lacrosse and what they're doing, you start talking about, golf and swimming. We went to SEC so many times, we've gotten bored with it. Gymnastics. So I'm just happy for all the spring sports because obviously we know we can talk about football and basketball in Florida. It's gonna reign supreme. But shout out to all those players, coaches, and everybody involved because it's hard to live up to that year in and year out. As a person that played in Florida for 4 years, I don't know what it's like to play in the National Championship. I know what it's like to play in the SEC Championship and win it. But to be one of the top teams left, we talking about where people say, hey, man, wherever the action is, a.k.a. the championships, that's what Florida will be. That's what they used to. And no matter who coming through that. So shout out to all those student athletes, male and female. Super duper proud of y'all. Because when I was at Florida, them other sports, they used to let us know. They used to tell us, get on our level. I know y'all got 80 and 90,000, but we get it done here too. My daughter played. The league that my daughter plays in the soccer down there, in Central Florida. Who sponsors her league? Abby Wambach. That's who sponsors the league. So my daughter was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "Girl, take a seat. It's gonna take a while to tell you about this language." So shout out to all the spring sports, and it just goes to show that, Florida is one of those schools that you get the best of everything in all sports. And like I say, if you run track and you ain't wearing orange and blue and you getting ready for the outdoors, I don't care what you do individually, you ain't going to beat Florida. Because Miles, what do you got? 14, 15 now?
14.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's true. Franz, tell me about this 7'9" dude.
Well, he's only 7'7". He's not 7'9". He's only 7'7". I can tell you, let me tell you something he did. One of my business partners has a kid who plays JV ball on the top JV team at Montverde, and they went over to play JV varsity doubleheader at IMG. And he said, this is what the kid did. He takes the ball in the middle of the paint, gets a pass, never leaves his feet, never turns around, reaches behind him and dunks over his head without leaving his feet. Now, there's an old saying, you can't teach tall. Yeah, that's true, but you can't teach taller either. And he is taller, okay? And I also know from conversation I had with Todd Golden, he's better than they thought he would be. So he's going to be really, really good. Basketball, I can tell you right now, I think we're 1 year, maybe 2 years away from being in that Final Four. The kid that came from Washington State is better than they thought he was going to be. And he's 7'1", he's 260 pounds. He is so good that they're going to go through with making sure that Micah redshirts this year because they don't want to rush him back. They want that leg to be solid, and they want him to weigh 250 pounds when he plays again. But they're going to be really, really good. They're going to sign a kid named Jeremiah Johnson, who originally signed with Okie State. They're going to sign him, and I think they're going to get this kid out, who's a Serbian kid. I think it's going to be the final scholarship. But it's Florida basketball is on the up and up. I think Florida football is on the up and up. Yeah. And then we got all the other sports. Yeah. And, all I can say is all I want for Christmas is for Parker Volby to come back for one more year.
Yeah. Let's give Loren the last word here. And by the way, you please say something to Brent English. He's begging for you. You give him a shout out. You do that?
Well, I'll precede that by, the world is about good people, and Brent English is a good dude. So, we talk about good Gator athletes. Brent English out of Valdosta, Georgia is one of the good ones, a good fan. But, I think about, and I wrote about this in the article, but, as much as people talk about, softball and Skylar Wallace and Tim Walton, and Franz was there, and he talked about culture. And when you talk about culture, you talk about people like Bailey Goddard and Katie Kissler and Emily Wilkie and, the the rest of that senior class that, you know, from what I understand, Bailey Goddard is like the mother hen of the program. You got a problem, you go talk to Bailey, you know. And I think that what you see in some of these programs where a team like Florida that was picked 8th in the SEC to go to the Final Four, you have those unsung people behind the scenes. And I think that's where, you know, a lot of these programs are hanging their hats on the culture. You know, I was at the basketball facility yesterday, and Walter Clayton Jr. got a different haircut now, but he had that look in his eye. And you know, you see
What
that
kind of
look
haircut? What's his haircut like? What's
he got? He lost the braids. Braids is gone.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, so got the clean cut, but he had this
clean for the season. That's good.
Yeah, he was getting taped up in the training room and just had a different look in his eye. And like I said, to echo what Franz, I mean, they're going to be really good. But you know, you just talk about all these programs. They've just built a great culture and a great player experience for these kids to be the best athletes and the best student athletes that they can be. And I think that that's what rings true when we talk about the everything school at Florida. You're getting the best education, you're going to get the best coaching, but you're also going to have the best experience of your life. And I think that's why so many people come back, continue to make their home in Gainesville, continue to speak so glowingly of the University of Florida. And you win with people. You win with people and you win with culture. And I think that's why those programs are where they are.
Very good, sir. And I want to say, well, it's on now. We're back. We went through basketball and softball, and now we finished with baseball. And now, what's the date today? Anybody know?
20. June 20.
All right. So we got 10 days till it becomes official. Oklahoma and Texas are members of the new 16-team league called the Southeastern Conference. Hold on to your hats, boys and girls. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're here now, tonight, positioned as we are with our Gator Bait family. To have people like we got along with you and Brendan and Rob and all our team. It's going to be an amazing time. We'll be making some appearances to various places. I know Brendan's going to SEC Media Days, and Rob, and I know Franz may be going as well, and Loren. And we were talking about going out, putting a team together, going out to Texas for the game in Austin. Some of my guys are. So it's going to be a different thing for us. Franz, you and I have traveled over most of the SEC for the last 10, 12, 15 years. Although I've been to Norman and I've been to Austin, never as a member of the SEC. It's going to be a wild season, and I can't wait for it.
And buddy, think about what they're bringing to the other sports. You know, Oklahoma, 7 national championships in softball, including the last 4 in a row. In Texas, with the history of its baseball and football and all these other sports coming in, the SEC. This is why I laugh so much, buddy, at the the Big Ten talking about, look at our great big TV package. Guess what? Ain't nobody going to be watching you. They're going to be watching the SEC because that's where all the wins are going to be. That's where all the wins and the losses and the champions are going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be some great games.
They ain't going to be up north. Trust me.
And even that weekend, starting out with the Florida Miami game, and that weekend it was a great game. Guys, great job. Ben and Laura, let me say again, thank you for our friendship, for teaching me and educating me about what I needed to know. I feel like you guys are 2 of my best friends right now. Friends I've known forever, so he and I have been like brothers for 30 years, so don't matter. But thank you to both of you and for tonight.
Hey, buddy, it's only been 51 years since we met in my MG.
I was thinking it was 15. I got the numbers reversed.
Yeah.
So
I lost my first gear, and you didn't even volunteer to pay for it.
Oh, I didn't. I'm not even sure why I got that MG to start with, number one. But anyway.
Unfortunately, I'll be on Capitol Hill SEC media day, so I'll be dealing with another.
All right. Well, you
type
get the
know.
local angle for the politicians.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you very much. I'm gonna tell the world about our good friends at Renstar. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. And stand by while we zip them off. And there you go. There you go. I'm learning this stuff still. There you go. All right. I want to tell you how important it is to have support. Nobody knows that better than the University of Florida and the folks at Florida Victorious. You need to have support. I have been one of the most fortunate people in the world to have the sponsors of this show. And one of the key ones is Renstar Medical Research. I want to say what's a quality people they are. And they've been with me since back in my radio days and now. And they are do some great things as Gator fans and great things in the community in Ocala. They're a really stand-up group of people, and they're my good friends. One of them, the founders of the company, Joe Sorrentino, his son Joey played for Urban Meyer, big Gator fan, and his partner is Mary Brantley. Yes, that Brantley, Scott Brantley's wife. So they are fabulous people, and we love working with them. I want to personally thank them for what they do for both my community and for this program. And while I'm at it, let me just tell you, it's important to them that you take part and pay attention to their clinical trials, because this is what drives the whole industry, finding out what we need in terms of our health care. The way you find out, you have clinical trials, you sign up for those things, you take part of them, do a study. They've done like almost 800 of them by now, and they find out what medications work best for us in our community, in our area, because as you know, health is indigenous. So you can do that if you get picked. Go to renstar.net and apply, and you could give you special medications or special kind of equipment and whatever, and you could be compensated for your time and travel in this thing. So if you want to do something for yourself and something for the health care of your community, and you want to meet some nice people, go to renstar.net and sign up and volunteer, see if you qualify for those clinical trials. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers for the health questions of today. Thank you to Ben and Loren and Franz. Been a good night. We're off now a couple of days and back at you soon. It's time to count it down. The SEC with new members, Oklahoma and Texas, is about to get underway. Can you believe it? Yep, it's actually going to happen. I'm excited about it. I hope you are. Good night, folks.